The 10 most dangerous jobs in the world. Number 10 offers a daily salary of $650,000 just for changing a light bulb. The number 1 job will make you wet your pants on the spot. Its death rate is so high that insurance companies have blacklisted it. Many people complain about the 996 work culture, but there are people in this world who are literally risking their lives to make money. Just looking at the work footage is enough to make your legs go weak. From venom collectors who catch poisonous snakes with their bare hands, to wind turbine technicians whose lives can be gone with a gust of wind, and bomb disposal experts who ascend with a firework-like effect when inspecting a single wire. Among these chilling jobs, which ones make it to the top 10? Today, let's explore the 10 most dangerous jobs in the world. Each one could be the plot of a disaster movie. We look forward to your subscription and likes. Number 10, high tower light bulb changer. They give you a ladder, and just for changing a light bulb, you get 650,000 yuan. Are you tempted by this job? Don't get excited just yet. Let's first take a look at the work environment. This first-person view from a giant signal tower is absolutely terrifying. This is the maintenance worker's office. As you can see, there's barely room for a second person, so there are no colleagues present during the work. For introverts, this might seem quite appealing. This signal tower is 460 meters high, equivalent to a 110-story skyscraper. After arriving at the work site, the first task for the worker is to climb to the top using only a safety rope, hand over hand. Since the tower has no elevator, this 2-hour climb severely tests the technician's physical strength and endurance. But this is just the beginning. Climbing for 2 hours is much more difficult than running a marathon on the ground. Wind speed changes with altitude. The higher you go, the stronger the wind and the greater the wind pressure. Even when it's calm on the ground, the top of the tower is battered by fierce winds. If the weather isn't particularly good that day and there's a noticeable breeze on the ground, the wind speed at the top can even reach 100 kilometers per hour. Normally, when we experience level 8 or 9 gusts on the ground, we feel like we're being pushed by an invisible hand. Imagine a level 12 gale at the top of the tower. Standing at the summit, one must overcome psychological fear while battling the swaying steel frame, and then precisely operate tools to replace the light bulb. Don't think that just being brave enough is sufficient for this job. See these tools in the workers' hands? If they accidentally drop from such a height due to strong winds or improper operation, it will be a very serious falling object incident, potentially causing a chain reaction. For someone who has just climbed continuously for 2 hours, their physical strength is likely depleted. In this condition, to also contend with such a harsh working environment is truly not something an ordinary person can handle. These light bulbs need to be replaced every 6 months, meaning the workers climb twice a year. They can only change 1 bulb a day, so it's not like they only work 2 days a year. As long as the weather isn't terrible, they have to go to the top to change the bulbs, even in the bone-chilling winter or the scorching summer. And working at such a height, the temperature's effect on the human body is countless times more pronounced than on the ground. What's more cruel is that the safety rope on the worker can only prevent a fall, but cannot prevent the impact of a fall. In case of an accident, it could mean broken bones at best or a coma at worst. Although the salary for this dangerous job is very high, the employment rate in the industry is extremely low. After all, no amount of money is more important than being alive. Number 9, snake venom extractor. 1 gram of snake venom is worth a kilogram of gold. But do you know how dangerous the job of snake venom extractor is? On our planet, tens of thousands of people die from snake bites every year. The only way to survive is to be injected with anti-venom. The job of a venom extractor is to catch poisonous snakes and then extract the venom from their fangs. When we encounter a poisonous snake in the wild, our first thought is surely to run. But in the eyes of a venom extractor, this is not a poisonous snake but a god of wealth. An ordinary person encountering a poisonous snake in the wild would think it's terrible. But for them, not finding a poisonous snake is what makes the trip terrible. From this perspective, it's hard to know whether humans or these hissing snakes should be the ones trembling. After spotting a poisonous snake, the extractor will immediately set a trap and then wait quietly for the right moment to capture it. Then, before the snake can react, They firmly grasp its head and insert its fangs into a test tube. The frightened snake will release its venom as a reflex. The market price of venom varies for different snakes. For example, a rattlesnake can secrete about 200 milligrams of venom, which can be used to produce 160,000 units of anti-venom, saving more than 4,000 lives. The venom of the taipan snake, besides being used for detoxification, is also very helpful in treating heart disease, so its market price is different. However, ordinary people should not easily attempt this job. Although the money is good, one mistake and a snake bite becomes a fast pass to meet your maker. You die even faster. Number 8. Volcanologist. The job of a volcanologist is one of the most respected in the world and also one of the most dangerous among scientists. Volcanology is the study of volcanic lava, magma, and related geological phenomena. Therefore, volcanologists often have to visit volcanoes in person, especially active ones. In their view, a volcanic eruption is a natural phenomenon. The geological changes that occur during an eruption, as well as the products after the eruption, are rich geological knowledge and valuable resources. Only by getting close to understanding and monitoring volcanoes can humanity understand the scientific principles behind eruptions, and thus better predict and respond to future volcanic events. To this day, humans cannot accurately predict when the next volcanic eruption will occur. So, every exploration by these volcanologists is a gamble with death. For example, the couple Katia and Maurice Kraft were always pioneers in field investigations, and they filmed a lot of first-hand footage of volcanic eruptions. Much of our understanding of volcanoes is based on their explorations. In 1991, Japan's Mount Unzen, after years of dormancy, suddenly became active, with multiple small-scale eruptions showing an intensifying trend. To obtain more valuable scientific data, Katia and Maurice were hit by a pyroclastic flow at their observation point and unfortunately died. All their efforts were for another common goal of all humanity: to accurately predict the specific time of volcanic eruptions, thereby saving lives. Number 7. Sulfur miner. This is one of the world's most life-threatening jobs. A slip of the foot can be fatal. Every extra breath you take shortens your life by a day. They're more pitiful than the workhorses of the 996 culture. What they face every day is not the empty promises of a boss, but a volcanic crater full of poisonous gas. They are like workers commuting between the human world and hell. They are the sulfur porters living in the volcanic craters of Indonesia. This place, billowing with thick smoke, is near the crater of the Ijen volcano, a famous tourist spot in Indonesia. The sulfur workers have to get up in the early morning, travel from their dorms halfway up the mountain to the summit, and then slowly descend to the bottom of the crater. They still use the most primitive mining methods, with only an iron rod and a worn-out basket as their tools. Every day, they have to carry 100 kilograms of sulfur from the crater floor to the summit, then haul it down the mountain, making 2 or 3 round trips a day, yet they only earn $3 to $6. This is the world's most dangerous open-air worksite. The concentration of hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide from the crater's emissions is dozens of times over the standard limit. Their only protective measure is a piece of cotton cloth soaked in water. They work more than 12 hours a day, constantly exposed to toxic gases, which causes their respiratory tracts to gradually ulcerate, their teeth to fall out prematurely, and even leads to cardiopulmonary failure. Therefore, miners in this job rarely live past 40. Besides the toxic gases that slowly erode their lives, these miners work near the volcanic crater where temperatures reach 40 degrees Celsius. The flowing liquid is actually highly concentrated sulfur. The slightest carelessness, even a small splash, can cause severe skin burns. What's more dangerous is that none of them know when the active volcano beneath their feet will erupt next. Number 6. Bering Sea crab fishing. King crab is also called the soft gold of the seabed. So, if you can catch this many king crabs at sea, you can sell them for $2 million. Are you tempted again after hearing that? Just taking a boat out to catch crabs sounds like a very interesting job. But did you know? King crabs only like to live in cold waters. Therefore, These fishermen must set out for the Bering Strait between October and November each year. This is during the winter, when the sea conditions are unpredictable. Just like this, they see so many crabs and think the god of wealth has come to deliver money. But the next second, a huge wave crashes down. Before they can meet the god of wealth, they almost meet the king of hell. These few are lucky. They only received a passionate kiss from the bone-chilling waves. If the waves were any bigger, the boat could capsize, and a trip to the underworld would be a certainty. For experienced fishermen, these waves are like child's play. Because catching crabs in the Bering Sea is a fight against heaven, the sea, and death in extremely harsh conditions. Since the early 20th century, there have been frequent rumors of ships mysteriously disappearing in these waters. In May 1923, a ship named Terra departed from a port for the United States, but suddenly lost contact en route. The 23 crew members vanished and were never seen again. From the late 1950s to the early 1960s, ship disappearances in this area peaked, with at least over 100 ships lost, and to this day, not a single wreck has been found. At that time, people's understanding of the Bering Sea was not deep, so they suspected sea monsters were at play. But with scientific exploration and data analysis, the secrets of the Bering Sea were finally revealed. Due to the harsh environment, cold climate, and large amounts of floating ice on the sea surface, navigation is exceptionally challenging. Additionally, the geological structure of the Bering Sea is very complex, and the currents and tides are different from ordinary seas, with turbulent waves and strong undercurrents below. These missing ships did not encounter sea monsters, but rather severe weather at sea, leading to their destruction and the death of their crews. To protect the ocean, the government's open fishing season is very short each year. They can only seize the limited time, working almost from the moment they open their eyes. Even a robot would need to recharge and rest. But these fishermen work 21 hours a day, almost non-stop, their bodies in a state of complete overload. And that's not all. Let's see where the Bering Sea is. It is the northernmost marginal sea of the Pacific Ocean. The entire sea area is triangular, connecting to the Arctic Ocean through the Bering Strait to the north. If you take a boat through here and go a little further north, you can see polar bears. Especially in winter, there are blizzards more than half of the days each month. The lowest temperature can reach minus 45 degrees Celsius, or even lower. Let's make a comparison. The freezer in your home is only about minus 20 degrees. So, most of the time, the boats look like this, as if they just came out of an ice sculpture exhibition. Under these extreme low-temperature conditions and prolonged overload, people's reactions become very slow and their bodies become stiff. Even walking can be slippery. If they encounter extreme waves and are swept into the vast sea, there's almost no chance of rescue. This is why fishermen going to the Bering Sea to catch crabs always leave a will before they depart, because they themselves don't know if they will have a chance to return after this trip. Number 5. Antarctic research scientist. What is it like to be a research scientist in the polar regions? The answer is just 2 words: dangerous. Upon arriving here, the first things to face are extreme low temperatures and blizzards. The average annual temperature in the Antarctic interior reaches minus 58.4 degrees Celsius. Russia's Vostok station once recorded an extreme low of minus 89.2 degrees Celsius. In such a working environment, severe frostbite and hypothermia are common occurrences. Without adequate protection, standing in the wind for 10 minutes can cause limbs to lose sensation. In just 20 minutes, a person can freeze to death. The blizzard winds here can reach 100 meters per second, which is 3 times the wind speed of a Category 12 typhoon. In an instant, visibility drops to 0, making it impossible to tell direction. If a team member gets lost and cannot return to camp in time, they may have to sacrifice their life for science. Even without a blizzard, trying to navigate in the polar regions is not easy. Because light is repeatedly reflected between the ice sheet and the cloud layer, it creates a wide-out visual blind spot, and the body's sense of direction is gradually lost. In 1971, an American pilot went missing during a flight in Antarctica due to a whiteout phenomenon. If this problem occurs, the only thing a team member can do is stay put and wait for other team members to come to the rescue. Because in these polar regions, there can be ice crevasses thousands of meters deep everywhere. Their surfaces are often covered by snow, and accidentally stepping on one can lead to an instant fall into the abyss. In addition, the polar regions are at a high altitude. For example, the altitude of the dome area in the Antarctic interior is 4,087 meters. The oxygen pressure here is only 60% of that at sea level. Working in such an environment for a long time, team members are likely to develop acute mountain sickness, with symptoms ranging from headaches and edema at the mild end, to coma or even death in severe cases. Most importantly, there are not many researchers at the stations. Their daily life, apart from research, has almost no recreational activities. Especially in winter, they are completely cut off from the outside world. The mental pressure is significant, and problems can easily arise. Number 4. Glacier Doctor. The Glacier Doctors are a special group. Members must be Sherpas who live at the foot of the Himalayas. Their main task is to build and maintain the Khumbu icefall route, scouting the path in advance for those climbing Mount Everest, and making preparations and constructions along the way. For example, the fixed ropes and aluminum ladders commonly used when climbing Everest are all set up in advance by the Glacier Doctors. The Khumbu Icefall is the necessary path from Everest Base Camp to Camp 2, and it is also the most dangerous section of the climb. According to statistics from the Himalayan database, between 1953 and 2023, a total of 49 people died while climbing the Khumbu Icefall, accounting for 25% of the total deaths on Everest. Among these victims, a significant proportion were Sherpas. For example, the Khumbu Icefall avalanche on April 18, 2014, directly led to the deaths of 16 Sherpa guides. On April 12, 2023, another avalanche in the Khumbu Icefall killed 3 more Sherpa guides. The death rate for Sherpa guides is as high as 4,053 per 100,000, which is 12 times the death rate of U.S. soldiers in the Iraq War. The terrain of the Khumbu Icefall is extremely complex, and the glacier structure is highly unstable, with numerous crevasses, seracs, and avalanche zones. Even with a scouted path and climbing tools and equipment, so many climbers still perish here every year. The environment for the Glacier Doctors is obviously even more dangerous than for ordinary climbers. In addition to challenging the limits of life, they also have to fix aluminum ladders and ropes for those who follow, which greatly increases the danger of their work. If it weren't for the existence of the Glacier Doctors, perhaps more than 99% of the world's climbers would never have the opportunity to summit Mount Everest. These Sherpas who pave the way for climbers are engaged in one of the most dangerous jobs in the world, yet they receive extremely low pay. Their income for a season is only $5,000. If they are unfortunate enough to encounter an avalanche, the family of the deceased only receives $400 in compensation. It wasn't until after the tragedy of 2014 that the Sherpas, through a collective work stoppage, managed to raise their compensation amount to just $15,000. Number 3. Wind turbine technician. Today, we always emphasize green, sustainable, and environmental protection. Even the energy we use every day must be clean energy. But while we pursue this greenness, there is a group of people silently safeguarding it behind the scenes. They're the maintenance personnel of the wind energy industry. See these large windmills? They are important tools for wind power generation. Once a problem occurs and is not resolved for a long time, a considerable number of residents will be unable to use electricity normally. The danger of this job mainly lies in working at heights, but it is much more dangerous than changing light bulbs on a high tower. This is because wind energy maintenance personnel not only have to overcome their fear of heights and fight against strong winds, but they also have to find the problem points on the sharp blades. The only advantage is probably that wind energy maintenance personnel work with colleagues and can take an elevator up instead of climbing themselves. Most importantly, light bulbs are changed only once every 6 months, and the date can be planned in advance with few emergencies. But for these windmill maintenance workers, they often go up to find and solve a problem only after it's discovered. This means that when an emergency occurs, even if the weather conditions are not particularly favorable, they have to bite the bullet and go up for inspection. The danger is imaginable. In terms of salary, the income for being a doctor to these big windmills is much lower than for changing light bulbs. Engaging in this work is less about making money and more about pursuing an ideal and a passion. Number 2, minesweeper. Although World War II ended decades ago, the dangers it left behind have not been completely eliminated. For example, Laos in Southeast Asia is a country so poor that it's said to have nothing left but bombs. To this day, 80 million bombs from the World War II era are still buried there. Although machine minesweeping can clear most of the landmines, it cannot achieve 100% accuracy and still cannot compare to manual minesweeping. To this day, the job of a minesweeper is irreplaceable. In fact, this job doesn't need much introduction for you to imagine its danger. The slightest accident can lead to disability at best or death at worst. It is a dangerous job with a very low tolerance for error. Number 1, marine pilot. This is one of the 3 most dangerous occupations in the world. With an annual salary in the millions, you're betting your life, and most people wouldn't dare to do it. This worker climbing the rope ladder is a marine pilot, also known as a harbor pilot. When a ship is navigating in a port area or along an inland river, the captain may not be familiar with the waters and will request a pilot. Under the pilot's guidance, they maneuver the ship and command tugboats to safely bring the vessel to or from its berth. You could say that no matter how hot-tempered a ship's captain usually is, they must greet the pilot politely. After all, without a pilot, the ship might not be able to enter or leave the port smoothly, and accidents could even occur. Moreover, an experienced pilot knows how to help the captain dock the ship, avoiding collisions and scrapes. You can think of a pilot as a guide for the port with solid professional knowledge, good communication skills, and a wealth of experience. The pilot's job is extremely dangerous. Every day, they have to climb a rope ladder equivalent to several stories high. If they're lucky and the sea is calm, then it's definitely a good day. But if they encounter a big storm and the sea is rough, the rope ladder will also sway violently. If they miss a step, they could face the danger of losing their life. This is another job with a very low tolerance for error. All right, that was the introduction to the 10 most dangerous jobs in the world. I wonder which one you find the most unacceptable? Feel free to tell me in the comments. Finally, a request for likes and subscriptions. If you like this video, please share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.